Do you have a moment for us to talk about Russia and Ukraine?
Yes, few subjects that are known to us. Hello, good morning. Today we'll have again an important debate here in the Council, and 2 points that I would like to make. First of all, we need to be very clear-eyed about the situation in Ukraine. We do not need to wait for an attack, for a military attack. I can tell you that Ukraine is already under attack. First of all, economically, its economic is already facing huge challenges that are not Ukrainian making. They were forced on Ukraine by Russia. To add to that, the terror campaign, have to imagine that the country is surrounded by a foreign army with a threat on invasion, is already putting a lot of pressure on Ukraine. Therefore, we have to be very clear about this and start a discussion about how do we answer this already happening attack. To add to that, we have to talk about the situation in Belarus. Yesterday we've heard that Russian army is about to stay in Belarusian territory indefinitely. That indeed changes the situation not only for Ukraine or Belarus, but also for NATO and EU countries, namely Baltic states and Poland. Therefore, we have to admit that Belarus is, what we're seeing is actually a very slow occupation of Belarusian territory and state.
Sanctions as soon as possible?
We think we have, I think that we have to start debating about an answer already to a current situation. Because now everything that we are talking about is just waiting for a military attack. But Russia has a huge arsenal of things that it can employ before actual military attack.
But why is there a cyber attack simulation? Can you explain why there is today, later, a cyber attack simulation? Why is this important to do this now?
Well, because what we're seeing, again, in Ukraine, there's a huge increase in cyber activity, malicious cyber activity. That means that when I mentioned that Ukraine is already under attack, cyber is one of the instruments that is being used. Therefore, not only we need to help Ukraine, but also we ourselves need to be very much prepared for that.
Are you united about preventive sanctions? Because here we hear different ideas. What do you say?
Look, it's natural that representatives from Baltic states usually are the first ones to speak out. You know, we tend. I say, you know, we have a front row seat to the whole situation. Therefore, we believe that the attack is already happening.
And so can I ask you, because this is very important, on Friday there were suggestions that some countries, including Italy, had said they worried about energy sanctions, that energy had to be put aside in this package. What do you make of that? Is it short-sighted? Is it actually playing into Putin's hands doing that?
Well, I think that Putin is not drawing any red lines for his attack. Therefore, I don't think that we should be drawing any red lines for our sanctions. From our perspective, our government has given a mandate for that everything should remain on the table. All the sanctions should remain on the table. We just have to be very vigilant on what is happening. And currently, we should start talking about certain possibility of sanctions even now. And then, if the attack continues, then we have to go further.
And sir, can I follow up on that? On Nord Stream, there's a lot of talk on Nord Stream 2, but the Ukrainians say, why don't you just sanction Nord Stream 1? Operational already. Is that something that you would contemplate?
Look, I mean, if we talk about stopping imports of all energy extracted materials to European Union, that stops Nord Stream 1 as well. Lietuviškai, aš manau, kad tai, ką aš pasakiau anksčiau, mano nuomonė, Ukraina jau yra užpulta ir dėl to apie sankcijas turime pradėti kalbėti jau dabar, nelaukiant tos kitos karinės atakos, ir taip pat reikia nepamiršti situacijos Baltarusijoje, kuri tikrai keičiasi dramatiškai po vakar. Baltarusija leidžia naudoti savo teritoriją kariniam Rusijos veiksmam ir mes turime lygiai taip pat matyti ir kalbėti apie sankcijas Baltarusijos režimui.
Like you are really not optimistic. You go more for the war. You feel that the war is closer than a diplomatic. Is it true?
Well, diplomatic path is never closed. Even when wars happen, diplomats still retain the possibility of contact. But the aggressor has to show intention to withdraw. That is the main point. Now we're not seeing no intention, absolutely whatsoever intention to take its troops, take its tanks, take its equipment back where it's permanently stationed.
So, are you ready yourself, your country, to this scenario, the scenario of the war?
Well, nobody's ready for a war in their heart. We have to, first of all, we have to be ready with our defense, with our capacity to make decisions, and all that. I'm quite convinced that my country is ready for that. But obviously, nobody wishes for war.
Food security is one of the problems, correct, of this war?
I'm sorry?
The food security.
Food security
Yeah,
for Lithuania?
for everyone.
Maybe. I mean, it's difficult to count what kind of disruptions could happen. But obviously, there could be a lot of.
The Middle East are counting 40% of the food from Ukraine and Russia.
Yes, that could be a problem. Absolutely.
Will you help this country?
Well, I think as a European Union, we need to find ways to help those who are affected. But first of all, we need to help Ukraine. Thank you.